So Nick, this will be your question to start with, and I think you alluded to this in your opening comments. You made a reference to the fact that you'd started a new business recently here in town, and so again, a lot of what we're talking about is the current environment in which we see ourselves, and maybe we're missing some opportunities beyond the earlier question about business attraction. Are there some programs or ideas that you would propose to increase revenues for the city that we really haven't looked at up to this point?
Well, let me be clear. Read my lips. No new taxes. Just in case that's what this was getting at.
I didn't say that now, Nick. I did not say that.
We can't tax our way out of this economy. We have to do what's in our control, and that's looking at our budget first. And so we have to focus on the expense side, and we talked a little bit about that already, because I think there's some real opportunities there, again, to try to get rid of or reduce some of the lower priority items and fund our higher priorities. My focus is to improve property values because I'm focusing on the schools. I think that will help us on the revenue side. My focus is to help sales tax because I'm focusing on the businesses. That will help on the revenue side ultimately. That's the way for us to solve our problem, is to understand what our revenue sources are today, what's critical to our community, and let's focus on those and spend our energies on those. Now, there's other opportunities, I think. Steve Napolitano is here from the county, and we'll be looking for the county to try to help on some of our programs. Thank you, Steve, for your support. The Beach City Health District, I think there's also opportunities, especially when we talk about senior programs and other opportunities there to try to tap into. The mayor mentioned about Measure R, which I think is going to be an interesting opportunity that we'll talk about more specifically on the next question. At some point, we're all hopeful that maybe some of this federal stimulus money will trickle down to the cities. We've already put in about $100 million worth of projects in order to try to get some of that. We can't count on it, but there might be opportunities there. But at the end of the day, we have to really focus on what we're in control of, and that's going to be our expenses, our businesses, and our property values. Thank you.
Thanks, Nick. Peter?
Where did I go here? Question 5. Well, I'll wing it. Let's see. What do we propose? Revenue for the city? Well, unlike Nick, I won't say no new taxes, but I would propose a tax on people that would be coming into our city. It's called the hotel tax. I know it may not be very popular with a lot of people, but the fact of the matter is, if we raised it 2.5% to 12.5%, we could generate another $900,000 a year. We can't tax our way out of a recession, that's true, but what we're talking about there is a $150 hotel room at the Marriott, at Shade, at any other place that's going to add $3.50 to your bill for the night. I don't think that tax, I believe that tax would go unnoticed, and I think that's $1 million coming into the city. That's a great way to chip away at a $3.7, $3.8, $3.9 million deficit, whatever the proposed estimate's going to be. There's a lot of other little things we could do. I know the mayor had tried to work on RV permits. I'm all for RV permits. We have a big issue on the east side of Manhattan Beach with RVs parking, staying where they're at, not moving. There's a lot of old cars that don't move either. I've had several residents contact me during the campaign telling me that this is an issue to them. I think that's a way we could generate revenue as well. Last but not least, I'd love to bring a film festival into the city. We're in Los Angeles. I work in Hollywood. It's definitely doable. I'd love to see people coming down from the north into our city, spending their money in our local economy, and building on another arts and cultural event that would bring our community together as well. Thank you.
Thanks. Richard?
I'm going to nominate Peter for the very first Manhattan Beach Film Festival. And just to follow up, the RV issue wasn't about permitting them. It was a matter of moving them away from schools. But the idea, you get the idea there. You mentioned earlier, I'm not a big fan as a local business owner. The last thing I want to see is more government tax on top of me. And we know that, look at the 30s depression, taxing did not work during the depression. Does not work. Take it off the table. Nick's right. The idea of reduce expenses first. That's the key. Reduce what you can touch and what you can see and you can affect daily. That's your first thing. The second thing is we can maintain our property values. He's right. That's our revenue comes from what? Our highest source of income comes from real estate property taxes. That's your first key to protect. Your first line of defense is your property values. That's where it all starts, right there. Yes, you can help local business on there too, and the Buy Manhattan program helps, but the key starts property value-wise and reduce expenses that you can control. I'm not a believer that the federal stimulus money will ever get to Manhattan Beach. I'm sure we're way down the list, and I'm not counting on Sacramento for doing anything for us, so I don't want to paper IOU back. So to me, it would take care of our own backyard, see if we can do internally first, and go from there.
Okay, Kathleen.
I agree with Richard and Nick that, you know, the highest priority should be maintaining the property tax revenue based on the property values in town. And I also agree that we should continue to promote the Buy Manhattan program. I think Peter was actually onto something a little bit earlier when he answered one of the questions that, you know, we can increase promoting this program. We can improve the promotion, and, you know, just, it is a great idea. It brings a lot of revenue into the city, you know, and people are aware of it. But things like banners, I don't think that's such a bad idea. I mean, no idea is perfect, and there's always room for improvement. To kind of dive off of that, I would actually propose something a little bit more specific. Besides Buy Manhattan, what about Dine Manhattan? We have a lot of restaurants in this city, wonderful restaurants, that on Monday nights, Tuesday nights, maybe Wednesday nights, those are slower nights for them. Why not have a program where we work with restaurants that want to participate? Maybe they provide some sort of discount to residents or visitors when they come in. And it's a win-win situation by promoting those restaurants to diners, to neighbors, to residents, to tourists, visitors to the city. The businesses thrive, the city gets the revenue, and the community also benefits because it's another opportunity for people to come together. Everybody loves the holiday fireworks and the pier lighting, and when we have the Old Hometown Fair, people love coming together in this community. And it's another opportunity for people to do that if there's one day during the week, or maybe one day every couple weeks, or one day a month, whatever have you, where we can do that, but at the same time promote the businesses, especially the restaurants.
I agree, taxes don't work. We don't want to be increasing taxes or user fees. You increase taxes, it has the opposite effect. It discourages business. I would not propose increasing the hotel occupancy tax. In fact, Manhattan Beach has a 10% tax rate. Most of our neighboring cities have 8%. We want people to come and visit Manhattan Beach and frequent our businesses. That would boost our sales tax revenue. That's what we need to do. We need to boost our sales tax revenue. Having great schools raises property values. That raises our property tax revenue. That's the type of thinking that we should do. We shouldn't be doing things that have negative impacts, which have the effect of reducing revenue. One thing, though, that I would like to see, we have the AVP volleyball tournament every year, and they use our namesake. You know, it's the Manhattan Open, the Wimbledon of Beach Volleyball. Well, other cities and other private entities license their namesakes. We should license it to the AVP. That would be a significant source of revenue. Everyone else does that. You know, we have to provide public safety and public works facilities during the AVP. We need to recover all of our costs, but with licensing agreements, we would have additional revenue. That's one revenue source that would have no effect on individuals here within the city or business owners. It would be a great thing, and we need to look at that right away when we renegotiate the contract. I'd like to see other things like permit streamlining, which is good for our businesses. That increases revenue, but that's what we need to do. We need to increase our revenue streams, not tax people.